Hello and welcome back inside the Eugene G. Anderson Softball Stadium here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina for WCBN sports coverage of Michigan softball. I'm Jeremy Parks with Game 3 of the weekend here for Michigan after a split yesterday between the Louisville Cardinals and the North Carolina Tar Heels. A rematch with Louisville here this afternoon after much delay. We appreciate those of you tuning in with us throughout and keeping up with the updates. Originally this game was scheduled for 12:30 this morning. Pushed back to 1, and then 2, and then 4, and now 5. And 5 seems to be the lucky number. The standing water in the outfield has been resolved. There's plenty of fresh dirt down out there. The warning track's a little bit sideways, but we will get underway nonetheless. Morris Fabry, unable to make the broadcast this afternoon. He had a pre-existing family arrangement here in Durham with some family in town. So you got me, solo, JP, throughout the whole broadcast. And we will be having a lot of fun all the way through. We'll give you your lineups here really quick as Louisville finishes their warm-up, and we are about to get underway. We'll start with Michigan. We'll give Louisville in the bottom of the first, but batting first, playing first base, Lexi Blair. Batting second, the DP, Morgan Overitis. Batting third, Faith Canfield at second base. Batting fourth, the catcher, Katie Alexander. Batting fifth in right field, Haley Hoganrod. Batting sixth in center field, Natalie Peters. Batting seventh in third base, making a field appearance this afternoon, Mackenzie Nemitz. Batting eighth, the first baseman, Taylor Bump. And batting ninth, the shortstop, Natalia Rodriguez. Lexi Blair is about to step into the batter's box, and she will be facing the likings of Danielle Watson here this afternoon, as Watson winds and delivers the first pitch, a called strike on the outside edge. Watson, an even 3 ERA coming into this game, 1-2 on the season, as she looks down to her catcher, Rebecca Chung, and delivers the 0-1. That's fouled off by Blair down the third base side. Well out of play here in this very scenic Williams Field here at the Eugene G. Anderson Softball Stadium. Back in the woods, full tree lining through the outfield and surrounding the sides of the stadium here. As the 0-2 comes from Watson. That one misses low outside. Blair coming into this one with a .440 batting average, 25 plate appearances so far. Had a big 2-run home run yesterday in what turned out to be an 8-3 defeat to North Carolina, but her first home run of her career, 5 RBIs. As the 1-2 swung on and missed. A fastball that tailed away to the outside just a hair. Escapes underneath the bat of Lexi Blair, and she goes down swinging for the first out of the game. And that'll bring up Morgan Overitis, a freshman pairing at 1-2 with Blair and Overitis here in the lineup this afternoon. As the first pitch, a called strike up on the top outside corner of the zone. The stadium relatively sparse. There's some smatterings of Michigan fans and Louisville fans alike. A lot of people deterred by the cold and the rain. Not quite as busy as yesterday. The 0-1, that one swung on and missed. A good changeup there off the arm of Danielle Watson as Overitis goes right through it. Overitis is hitting .188, has 3 hits in her 16 plate appearances so far. As the 0-2 is grounded over towards short. It's gathered in over at short, and the throw over to first is in time. A nice gather by Caitlin Ferguson. And that'll be out number 2 here in the top of the first. Canfield will step to the plate. Canfield hitting .292, 7 hits through 24 at-bats. As Watson looks down to Chung, she winds and delivers. First pitch misses up high above the letters for ball 1. Change behind the plate for Louisville in this game as opposed to yesterday. They go with Rebecca Chung as the back end of the battery here. The 1-0. That one a ball inside. Bounces in and out of Chung's glove as it falls to the side in the feet of Faith Canfield in that righty batter's box. Gray clouds, gray skies here as the temperatures drop significantly from yesterday. The 2-0. That one also up high above the letters, and now a hitter-friendly 3-0 count. Should be a get-me-over pitch here for Danielle Watson. As Canfield steps back into the batter's box, standing tall with that bat cocked over her back shoulder. She takes a step back at the last moment as the 3-0 misses high as well, twisting up and out of the way. And that'll be a 4-pitch walk there for Faith Canfield, and the Wolverines have their first base runner of the game with 2 outs here in the top of the first.
Now batting, number 17.
Watson so far on the season has given up 6 walks. That will be her 7th surrendered. Throwing walks at a pretty high clip. That'll be 7 through 14 innings pitched. And that will bring up Katie Alexander. Starting back behind the plate yet again today for the Wolverines, as Alexander standing with her feet a little bit to the backside of the batter's box. As the first pitch misses inside, it gets away from Chung and squirts over towards the backstop, and that'll allow Faith Canfield to get down to second base on the pass. So a 1-0 count with Canfield advancing to second as Chung unable to gather it in. Canfield will lean off the bag at second. Watson back ready at the rubber with the 1-0. That one, a hot shot right over towards second, knocked down but unable to make the grab. Gathering up in time and making the throw over to first to end the inning is Maddie Newman. That'll do it for the Wolverines in the top of the first. They get a runner on via the walk, advance to second on a pass ball, but no damage in the top of the first inning. We head to the bottom of the first. Your score, Michigan 0, Louisville 0, here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Again, as we do not have Morris Fabry on the broadcast here today, our half innings, looking to the fans for a little interaction here. As always, we encourage you to shout out with us, send your questions, comments in the YouTube live chat. We'll monitor that throughout the game. Feel free to interact with us on Twitter as well, at WCBN Sports. You can also follow our account to get all of your Michigan softball information coming up this season, as well as all of our other Michigan athletic teams. The basketball crew in Ann Arbor today calling a Michigan victory over Maryland. We were able to watch that one during the delay. All over Ann Arbor and around the country here on WCBN Sports. But again, a big thank you to all of you tuning in, as the game is not being streamed with video this afternoon. And that'll bring up Louisville here in the bottom of the first. Their order today, batting first and playing third base, Sydney Melton. Batting second, the center fielder, Celine Funky. Batting third, the DP, Megan Hensley. Batting fourth, the shortstop, Caitlin Ferguson. Batting fifth, the catcher, Rebecca Chung. Batting sixth, the second baseman, Maddie Newman. Batting seventh, the first baseman, Kyra Snyder. Batting eighth in left field, Charlie Butler. And batting ninth, the right fielder, Riley Schneider. Riley Schindler, I should say. A misprint on my paperwork, but Sydney Melton coming up here first in the bottom of the first inning, as she will face Alex Storako in the circle. Storako finishes the warm-up, and she steps to the rubber quickly, delivering the first pitch for a called strike on the outside. Storako, a .295 ERA, 3-1 so far this season. She's thrown 19 full innings, opponents hitting just .191 against her. The 0-1, a rise ball that crawls up and out of the zone as Alexander up out of her crouch to make the grab, as the count will go even 1-1. Melton batting .333 so far here for Louisville. She takes the 1-1 pitch outside as well. A nice frame attempt there by Katie Alexander, but unable to pull that one back into the zone. The count goes to 2-1. As the 2-1 comes down the pipe, another rise ball that gets up over the bat of the hitter, Sydney Melton. She swung right through that one, and the count evens again at 2-2. 3 RBIs so far off of 7 hits for Sydney Melton. Trying to get something going at the top of the order. The 2-2 crawls up high in the zone, but is fouled back to the backstop, as she will stay alive with the count even. A fresh ball delivered behind home plate as Katie Alexander throws that down to Alex Storako. Your umpiring crew today: behind home plate, Daniel Rogers; at first base, Charles McManus; and at third, Chris Tahanika. As the 2-2, that one swung on, looped over towards short, and ranging under it and making the grab, the birthday girl, Natalia Rodriguez, for the first out of the bottom of the first inning. It is Rodriguez's birthday as well as Alex Subject's. Subject starting this game in the dugout for Michigan. As Rodriguez gets a little birthday present there with the first out. And that'll bring up Celine Funky. As Funky steps to the plate in that lefty's batter's box, the first pitch shows bunt up high, and again out of her crouch to make the grab is Alexander. 1-0. Funky hitting .389. 7 hits and 18 at-bats so far. As the 1-0 grounded over towards first, gathered in by Taylor Bump right on the edge of fair and foul territory. A nice play to make the grab, and unassisted over to first to tap the bag by a couple steps for out number 2. We saw yesterday fielders having a lot of trouble with this Carolina infield in terms of the ball getting really healthy, heavy bounces off of what was a really hardened infield. We learned from a Carolina fan that's in play, but the rain softening it up a little here today. As stepping to the plate now is Megan Hensley. And she takes the first pitch for a called strike over the plate with the fastball is Storako. Hensley batting just .125, trying to get something going at the plate here with 2 outs. As the 0-1 up high above the zone, a spot that Storako has seemingly gone to several times here early in the first inning. That release point coming up just a little high. As she ranges and readies with the 1-1. That one, a knuckler that gets over towards first and right on the edge of the infield dirt and the outfield grass. And again, along that fair foul line, Taylor Bump making the basket grab over the shoulder. A nice play to track that one, and that is 1-2-3 for Louisville as well here in the bottom of the first. We head to the top of the second, scoreless here between Michigan and Louisville. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. A couple of questions about what happened down here to cause the delay early on this morning. We were slated for a 12:30 start. We arrived here at the stadium at about 11:30, and it was coming down relatively light rain. It wasn't anything too heavy or too outrageous. Walking up the long path from the parking lot up to the stadium, and as we got in, they were still prepping the field as though the game was ready to go at 12:30. The teams were out warming up. The chalk lines were being put down, and then during the coaches meeting, I believe was the first time that it came up, they went out to check the outfield as there were some notes of standing water out there, and we saw later on with several of the North Carolina staff members raking out there, there was a very significant amount of standing water in the outfield. So then we thought we would get started at 1 after a quick cleanup job. It proved to be a lot more than that. Then they thought 2, then 4, and then they just decided the teams were going to head back to the hotels and take a little break and come back here, and 5 o'clock was the official starting time. As the Wolverines will come to bat here with 5, 6, 7, Hoganrod, Peters, and Nemitz due up in the top of the second. And Haley Hoganrod with that long blonde hair stepping up into the batter's box now. As Danielle Watson back to the circle, she looks down to Chung, and her first pitch is hit hard but foul by Hoganrod. Got a lot of it, but pulled it down that third base side foul towards the Louisville dugout. Louisville is wearing their black tops with the Cardinal red pants and the red visors. Michigan for this one in the white pants with the maize tops, the blue lettering. As a fresh ball comes down behind home plate and then out to Watson. Hoganrod so far on the season hitting an even .300. 6 hits in 20 at-bats so far. 3 doubles, the outstanding stat line for Haley, as the 0-1 pitch goes low and in the dirt, scooped up out of there by Chung, and that'll bring the count to 1-1. Infield, the middle infield shading back a little deep, right at the grass and dirt line. Corner infield shaded regularly. The 1-1, that one grounded over towards second, gathered in, and the throw, an easy toss over to first by Maddie Newman to get Haley Hoganrod in time here for out number 1. And that'll bring up Natalie Peters, who is featuring again in the kind of lower end of the lineup in this one after a string of leadoff starts down in Tampa, showing up in the 7-hole yesterday and now in the 6-hole today. As she stands in and takes the first pitch from Watson, shows bunt, and they do say that she didn't pull it back in time, as it'll be strike one. Peters hitting .250. Has 4 walks already here on the season for the Wolverines. As Watson winds and delivers. The 0-1, a good pitch that missed maybe a hair high. Again, Peters not the tallest of hitters in this lineup, so that strike zone a little condensed, and that one maybe about a little above the letters. I don't know. Looked like a pretty well-located pitch there from Watson. But she does not get the call as the count's 1-1. And the 1-1 is a hard shot over down the third base side. It's tailing foul, and it does land foul over in the bullpen area on the third base side. Giving chase that way was Charlie Butler, the left fielder, as it falls harmlessly out of the confines of the field here. And again, another new ball brought into the game, so a quick time as Peters taps the shoes and then back into the batter's box. The 1-2, that one misses outside with the fastball. 2-2. Outside and a bit low. Michigan defeated Louisville yesterday by a score of 6-0 to start the day. An offensive outpouring in the first and second was what did them in, as the 2-2 is a shot over towards center field. Charging in from right and making the grab after a long run is Riley Schindler, as she makes the catch for out number 2. And that will bring up Mackenzie Nemitz here, making an appearance at third base in this game and batting 7th. 5 at-bats so far on the season for Nemitz. 1 hit as she takes the first pitch and slaps it foul on the third base side. Just 1 strikeout in those 5 at-bats for Nemitz. She's making some contact. Looking to break out after seeing limited time coming into this season. She's seen some good looks so far as the 0-1 goes up high and a foul tip into the glove for strike 2. Chung gets back into her stance as Nemitz takes a step back in the box. And the 0-2, that one a hard shot over towards third, bounces up and off of the body, ranging over to make the cross diamond throw. And in time, Sydney Melton did a good job. That one was a hard shot down the third baseline. It bounced up into her chest. She kept in front of it, gathered it back up, and made the throw by about a step and a half at first. And that'll be out number 3 in the top of the second. We head to the bottom half with your score still Michigan 0, Louisville 0 here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball. As we said, the team this morning showed up to the field, warmed up, and eventually wound up leaving, only to come back later. They headed back to the hotel. We wound up going over to a sports bar to watch the end of the Michigan basketball game, and again, running into becoming common friends, the representatives from the Hoganrod family, as they had coffee with us up on the terrace in Tampa last week and watching the tail end of a Michigan victory here this afternoon. As the Wolverines throw their last warm-up, the throw down to second from Alexander will be the end of that, as the infield will group up in the circle really quick. Couple of words, as Louisville will have 4, 5, and 6. Ferguson, Chung, and Newman due up here in the bottom of the second. No hits for either side so far through 1.5. As Ferguson steps into the batter's box, Storako twirling that ball in her right hand, brings it to the glove and delivers. The first pitch is a fly ball over towards right center field, ranging back to the track, and right at the edge of the wall is Haley Hoganrod. There is no wind to help any of the hard-hit fly balls kind of make their way out over the fence, as that one died right at the last moment out at the wall for out number 1. But a good bit of contact there from Ferguson. Stracco did give up 1 home run yesterday in her appearance against North Carolina, a 2-run shot. As Rebecca Chung, the catcher, steps to the plate, a called strike on the inside with the fastball, 0-1. Chung, a freshman who is hitting really well in a small sample size to start the season, 4 for 6. As the 0-1 comes inside and high, giving maybe a quarter twist out of the way is Chung, 1-1. Four for 6 with a walk as well, 3 RBIs. Trying to keep it hot at the plate. The 1-1 fouled back behind home plate and up over the press box here. To my right, we are on the left side of the press box here for this game, where the ACC Network extra crew was here yesterday. As we were on the right side of the press box, we've swapped vantage points, but still a very good view of home plate and all of these pitches coming in. As the 1-2 is again fouled back and up over the press box. And again, staying alive at 1-2 is Chung. Game time temperature is dipped. We are right around 40 degrees here in Chapel Hill. Not by any means the warmest of games. After 78 degrees and sunny last week in Tampa, Florida. As after that last one was fouled back, the umpiring crew needing to go grab a fresh couple of balls. Daniel Rogers behind home plate going over to bring a fresh 2 or 3 out there, and they throw one down to Stracco as she now twirls. Back to the rubber, and the 1-2 pitch misses up high. Alexander up out of the crouch again to get it. Chung in that righty batter's box. Again with 2 strikes, again stepping to the backside as the 2-2 is popped up foul. Nemitz giving chase from third base, but that one will get out of play. Over towards our side here on third base with the stands just out of reach there with the foul ball. If you get a foul ball here at the ballpark at Carolina, they tell you to bring it back to the press box and you get a prize. We have not figured out what the prize is yet. We'll see if I can get a foul ball here during the broadcast. As the 2-2 is chopped over towards short as Rodriguez makes the grab and a strong throw over to first. Had to make about 3 or 4 steps ranging over towards the gap between second and short, but handled in time, and a strong throw for out number 2. A prolonged at bat for Chung, but she heads back to the dugout. And that will bring up Maddie Newman now as she steps out of the on-deck circle and into the batter's box, and she swings at the first pitch. It was up high, but she went right through it. 0-1 on the rise ball. As Stracco brings the 0-1, fouled back on the third base side, and very quickly ahead now 0-2. Still looking for her first strikeout of the game is Stracco. She's got 22 so far on the year in just 20 2/3 innings pitched. So trying to keep that trend of a little more than 1 an inning as the 0-2 misses up high and outside. 1-2 now as more fans continuing to file in here. It wasn't nearly as crowded now as it was, or at first pitch as it is now, I should say. As the 1-2 again missing up in that same kind of spot up high and outside. Sliding over in the crouch to get the ball is Katie Alexander. Stracco will second to check her wristband on the left forearm. She's got what she wants, and she brings the 2-2. That one a hard shot over towards left center field. Ranging over and making the grab on the run is Lexi Blair for out number 3. So nothing doing again for Louisville here in the bottom of the second. Nothing doing for either side so far. We remain hitless. We remain scoreless as we head to the top of the third between Michigan and Louisville here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Again, always encouragement to send us a message in the YouTube live chat, especially for this one, as I'm missing my good old buddy Mo Fabri for this game. He is out at a fancy Italian restaurant with his visiting cousins. we were really thinking that that wasn't going to be an issue on the weekend, as the game was originally scheduled for 1:30 and then moved up even earlier to 12:30 towards the end of the week, and done in by the delays here today. So Mo prioritizing family as he should, but not here alongside me for this one. So whatever you all are able to come up with for questions or comments, feel free to send them in the chat. Again, you can also sound off where you are listening from. We had a great response yesterday with some 20 or 30 folks from all over the country tuning in here on WCBN Sports. As Louisville completing their warm-up. Due up for the Wolverines, it'll be 8, 9, and 1. Bump Rodriguez and Blair here in the top of the third. As Taylor Bump taking a couple of practice cuts here on the righty batter's box side before she steps in there. Digs her cleat in to find her footing. A couple of bat swings back and forth as Danielle Watson back in the circle. Calmly looks down and begins her delivery of the first pitch here in the top of the third. It's a called strike on the outside. Nice action there, moving away from Bump, starting over the middle and tailing out to the outside. As the 0-1 pitch. Tried to go to a similar spot, trying to hit that outside edge again, but missing this time with the fastball, now 1-1. Bump so far on the season, hitting .250, 3 for 12. As the 1-1, that one a hard shot, got a lot of it, but it's going foul down the third base side. More of a golf swing on that one as she kind of digged down low to pick it up and put it up into the sky, but by no means straight and within the field of play. As the 1-2 comes down, that one a ball inside near the shins of Taylor Bump. Has drawn 1 walk so far on the season, has 5 strikeouts, really trying to avoid becoming a hefty K hitter. As Watson looks down and brings the 2-2. That one knuckled inside over in foul territory, trying to range over and going to miss it by about 2 steps is Melton over at third. Knuckled her up inside and that one blooped over. It would have been playable, but a little bit of a late jump and just not enough time to get over there for Melton. And so Bump will stay alive at 2-2. As she rocks back and forth, Daniel Rogers giving the count. And the 2-2 pitch, that one down in the dirt, swing and a miss, as the strikeout will be completed down to first for out number 1. 6th strikeout so far on the season for Bump. And we are now at the 9 spot in the lineup with Natalia Rodriguez stepping to the plate. Again, it is Natalia's birthday today along with Alex Subject. Trying to come up with a little birthday fun here at the plate. As the first pitch showing bunt. And pulling back as that one misses up high for ball 1. Rodriguez has that yellow bow just poking out from underneath the bottom of her helmet. As the 1-0, she swung on, got a little piece of it as it goes to the backstop. 1-1 the count now. Hutch demonstrating that swing model over from her perch on the third base coach's box, and as always, Bonnie Thole over in the first base coach's box. Telling Rodriguez to just swing all the way through. Off. The 1-1. That one misses outside, and again, unable to squeeze the glove on that one is Chung. That's the second one here in the game so far that she's been unable to get into the leather. Both of those coming on the outside part of the plate. Again, a freshman catcher in for the Cardinals. As Watson readies the 2-1. That one a big swing and a miss as Rodriguez tried to run up slapper style and went right through it, 2-2. We did see Rodriguez's ability to switch sides at the plate, even in an at-bat in the middle of a 2-strike count down in Tampa, as the 2-2 is a hard chopper bounces over the third baseman and over towards short where the play is gobbled up, and there will be no throw over to first as Rodriguez speedy down the first base line. Pinched in real far at third base was Melton, and that one took a one-hop right over her head, gathered up by Ferguson behind her, but by the time she had the ball, no throw to be made. And so the Wolverines with a base runner and the first hit of the game on the infield single. Here with one out in the top of the third, and back to the top of the order with Lexi Blair. And the first pitch, that one, short tapper over towards second, charging in and making the toss over to first. And in time is Maddie Newman, advancing to second. On the play is Natalia Rodriguez. So now a runner in scoring position for the second time. The Wolverines got Faith Canfield to second base on a walk and a pass ball in the first inning. And another two-out opportunity with a runner in scoring position for Morgan Overitis. As Overitis swings in the first pitch, she got a lot of that one, and again, just tailing foul over into the bullpen area on the third base side. Hit that one to the opposite side of the field from her lefty batter's box. And she will regain her bat as Faith Canfield picks it up, hands it over. And back into the batter's box as Watson kicks and delivers the 0-1. That one just missing on the outside. A nice pitch there from Watson and a good attempt at framing by Chung, but the count instead evens at 1-1. Overitis grounded out to short in her first at bat in the first inning. The 1-1. That one fouled back up behind the press box here. 1-2 now. On the Wolverines freshman. Trying to take advantage of an infield single from Natalia Rodriguez. As the 1-2, that one hit over towards third, gobbled up by Melton, and a quick throw over to first will get Overitis by a couple of steps. So that'll do it. The first hit of the game comes off the bat of Rodriguez on an infield single, but they do not score her as we head to the bottom of the third inning in a scoreless game between Michigan and Louisville. You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Go through some comments here in the half inning. I also thought that we were Moe's family, Griffin Hickman. Shout out to longtime listener Griff. Alexander family checking in from Ypsilanti. Nice to have you on board with us again this afternoon. DeWitt, Michigan. Ann Arbor, Claremont, Florida. People starting to become friendly in the chat as well. I think you all are starting to recognize each other's names if you didn't already know one another previously. So not only quality sports coverage content, but also friendship and bonding and familial growth through a shared love of Michigan softball. All good things. As Storako is back out to the circle, she throws her last warm-up pitch, and the throw to second from Alexander will end the proceedings there in the in-between as Louisville primed to come back up to the plate here in the bottom of the third inning. They will have 7, 8, 9, bottom of the order, Snyder, Butler, and Schindler due up. As Snyder steps into the batter's box and takes a called strike at the letters on an off-speed pitch, 0-1. That one looked to be maybe a hair out of the zone, but Katie Alexander doing a nice job to frame that one, pull it right back into the corner, and they get the called strike. The 0-1 pitch. A changeup that goes right over the plate, changing up that speed and that timing on these hitters, and now again, quickly ahead on the hitter is Alex Storako, 0-2 to Kyra Snyder, the first baseman for Louisville. Hitting .214 on the season so far. And the 0-2 pitch misses outside and away. 1-2. Storako looks to the wristband, looks over to Jennifer Brundage in the dugout, and then looks back to the glove and brings the 1-2. That one shot over towards Rodriguez at short. Backhanded stab and the throw over to first in time. What a play over at short by Natalia Rodriguez. That one was destined for deep in the hole. It had infield single written all over it, but a backhand stab ranging over from right to left and then making a strong cross field throw for out number 1. Rodriguez, the birthday girl, with some nice looks over there at short. And that'll bring up Charlie Butler. As the first pitch to Butler, that nice changeup that sails right over the plate again for a called strike. 0 hits and 13 at bats so far this year for the Cardinals left fielder, trying to get something going at the plate as the 0-1, I think, got her in on the elbow as it made a little bit of contact. And that'll be a hit batter and the first base runner of the game for Louisville. So maybe no need to get the hit there for Butler as she heads down to first base. And she will pop off the elbow guard.
Now at the plate, number 4, Riley.
That's why you wear it. There to protect you right in on that very prominent elbow bone. And a fastball that got her inside definitely would have hurt a lot more had she not had that on. So a runner on now for Riley Schindler, the 9-hitter, in the first pitch to Schindler, a called strike. Down towards the lower end of the zone. Schindler also no hits so far, but just 5 at bats. As a bunt is dropped down on the 0-1, and the quick throw over to first charging in from third was Nemitz, and she gathered it up and made the play. So it'll be a sacrifice bunt to advance the runner into scoring position. If Morris was here, he would complain about the strategy of that, trying to move up the hitter with 1 out, or trying to move up the runner with 1 out, I should say. But that's exactly what they do as Butler gets down to second, and now we're back to the top of the Louisville order with Sydney Melton, the first runner in scoring position opportunity for the Cardinals in this game with 2 outs. And the first pitch is a fly ball heading over towards left center field and back to the track and at the wall, and making the grab is Natalie Peters on the run. Got a good bit of that one, but it hung up just long enough for Peters to make the run over and the snag for out number 3. So Louisville gets a runner on base with a hit by pitch, move her up to second on a sacrifice, and that'll do it in the bottom of the 3rd. We head to the top of the 4th. Just 1 hit on the board between these sides. We're scoreless between Michigan and Louisville here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Apparently there's no such thing as an elbow bone. Is it cartilage? I'm not sure. Didn't do anatomy. That's correct. I actually did not take anatomy in high school. But nonetheless, I mean, you get hit on the elbow, whatever is in your elbow, I mean, it's going to hurt. You hit the, I mean, I don't think the funny bone is a thing, but like you hit your funny bone, right? Wolverines due up to bat here in the top of the 4th. They will have 3, 4, 5, heart of the order, Canfield, Alexander, and Hoganrod when they come up to bat. Oh, so we've got a smart individual in the chat. Ulna and the Radius meeting the humorous. Okay, well that's all much too highbrow for an education guy like me.
Number 25, Faith Canfield.
But luckily we don't have to talk about anatomy too much longer as the infield warm-up has concluded and Faith Canfield ready to head into the batter's box. She was about to step in and then was called over by Bonnie Thole. Stepped over to take some advice real quick, just a couple of words over on the first base foul territory. And Hutch moving over to her box at 3rd. And we'll see what Thole had for Canfield and if it helps her at the plate here to start the top of the 4th. As the first pitch to Canfield, up and inside, twisting out of the way, is Canfield, 1-0. The Wolverines had a couple of hit batters towards the end of the game last night against North Carolina, and there were some fan complaints of leaning into it over the box. That one was nowhere close to a lean over, just up and in, as the 1-0 pitch misses low. Down below the shins, near the ankles, with the fastball, 2-0. Not crowding the plate, has a generous half step off of that final line in the batter's box. Does Canfield as the 2-0. A called strike this time on the inside. Trying to sell that one again with the kind of light twist to try and make it feel like it's coming up in and close. But not biting is Daniel Rogers behind home plate. As the 2-1 pitch misses inside and right at the M's on the kind of half calf on the sock there for Michigan. 3-1 the count now. Wolverines have not gotten their leadoff hitter on so far in the game as the 3-1. That one shot back over, up the middle and through past the extended charge of Ferguson at short, and it'll squirt into center field for a base hit, the second hit of the game. And there you go. You have the curse of the commentator and the blessing of the commentator. That one leading to the leadoff runner, or the leadoff batter, getting on here in the top of the fourth.
Number 17, Katie Alexander.
As Katie Alexander will now step to the plate with a chance to continue a little spurt of momentum, perhaps. As Canfield stands in with her right foot on the first base bag. Grounded out to second base in her first at-bat did Alexander, as the first pitch that she sees is fouled back behind and over my head, back behind the press box. Three hits on the season for Alexander. 2 home runs, including a grand slam and then a double as well. Liking the extra base hits early when she makes contact. As the 0-1. That one up high and inside a little bit. 1-1. That one a riser. So as Sirocco kind of in the start of this one was missing up high, still over the plate, but just kind of generally high. It looks like Danielle Watson starting to maybe miss a little inside and high here, as the 1-1 is the shot over towards the first base side. Off on contact was Canfield. She has to get back as that one hung up right on the chalk, and the grab being made in right field by Schindler.
Number 32,
That'll be out number 1 as Canfield scoots back to avoid being tagged up. And one looked like it probably would have been foul had it landed, but making the play right on the line is Schindler, and that'll now bring up Haley Hogenrod here with 1 out and Canfield on first in a scoreless game here in the top of the fourth. First pitch to Hogenrod. That one up high. She had a check swing. They say she doesn't get a piece of it, and it actually gets up and over the catcher, Chung. And because they said she didn't get a piece of it, that allows Canfield to get to second on the pass ball. And it looks like Louisville is going to have a question from the dugout on whether or not that is the call. I thought perhaps she got a piece of it as she went through the check swing for Hogenrod. And now we're going to have a conference with all 3 umpires in the crew just to the right side of the circle. So again, that pitch came up high. Hogenrod had a check swing. Louisville arguing for whether or not there was foul contact as Canfield advanced to second since there was no contact made, and they do uphold that call. And so now a runner in scoring position with 1 out here. Faith Canfield on second, Haley Hogenrod at the plate. And now it looks like maybe not. We're going to have time again as Chris Tahanika over at third base is going to call time and now bring the crew back in again. Confusion en masse here. And they're just going to go back to sticking with the call again. So not sure what the second delay was about, but the whole crew back to their regular positions, and Canfield will stay planted at second base. So call it a pass ball with the runner advancing. And the 1-0. That one a number off the bat of Hogenrod. It's gathered up by Melton at third, about 3 steps off of the third base bag. And the throw over to first is in time by a couple of steps for out number 2. That one got inside near the hands on Hogenrod and just kind of dribbled it down the third base line. So that'll bring up Natalie Peters with a chance here again. Runner in scoring position, 2 outs now in the top of the fourth. Peters had a fly out to right field in her as the first pitch fouled back into the screen. Several of the fans flinching at that one as it comes up into the netting. The 0-1. Instead of wearing winter gloves over on third base, Coach Hutch wearing just regular batting gloves to keep her hands warm here. As we are ready to get back underway now, Watson with the 0-1. That one, a very nice pitch fastball on the outside corner for a called strike 2. 0-2 your count now on Natalie Peters. As Watson looking for the put-away pitch, the 0-2. That one misses up high, had some rising action and got away up and outside. Count now 1-2. As the field lights are on here. No sunshine at all today. It was, again, rainy this morning, and once the rain subsided, the sun did not come out. So still cloudy, field lights on, very gray. The 1-2 misses low and away. That one well outside the zone, hovering above the dirt by the time it got into the glove of Rebecca Chung. As Peter steps back, evens up her bat as the motion begins from Watson, and the swing comes around, and it's a comebacker right over to the side of the circle where Watson gathers it up and makes the underhand toss over to first for out number 3. So again, the Wolverines get a hit. They bring the runner around to second, but they do not score. We head to the bottom of the 4th in a scoreless game between Michigan and Louisville. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball on the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
ACC Big Ten Challenge, where the Northwestern Wildcats will take on
The hit column bringing to mind a point from yesterday that we had between Morris and myself. The Megan Beaubien outing yesterday against Louisville in that 6-0 win was nothing shy of pristine. There was one hit given on the column, and what Morris and I probably would have put down as an error, but going down as an infield hit for Louisville. And that prevented Beaubien from ending her final line with a no-hitter, complete game no-hitter, I should add. But instead, complete game one-hitter still sounds pretty darn good for Megan Beaubien. She had a little bit of a rougher outing in relief in the North Carolina game. She was part of that 5-run outpouring from North Carolina that became the difference in an 8-3 defeat in the evening game yesterday for Michigan. But enough about those losses. Louisville looking for their first hit yet still against Alex Storako as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. They've got 2, 3, and 4. Funky, Hensley, and Ferguson due up here. As Celine Funky, the center fielder, heads to the plate. She shows bunt on the first pitch, and it's coming right over towards us here. Bounces up off of our tent. Very close to my foul ball. I'd like to collect my prize if I could there. Instead gathered up by the Carolina field staff. So the foul off the bunt leaves it 0-1. Funky grounded out to Bump, who had an unassisted play at first in her first at-bat. The 0-1, however, though, headed over towards the gap on a hard shot, but hanging up just in time, and again there to make the play is Natalie Peters. So Louisville has teed up a couple of these pitches pretty well. They just haven't been able to find the right spots around the field. And that's out number 1 here on the inning. Peters came all the way over from her kind of far shading to the left side of center to make that grab towards the warning track. So 1 out now here in the bottom of the 4th. The bases are empty for Megan Hensley, who had a pop-up gathered up by Taylor Bunt back in the 1st. First pitch she sees is a called strike down on the lower half of the zone. Hensley stands with those uneven feet, the back cocked, as she swings right through the 0-1 pitch. Pulling the string on that one, and the floor falling right out from underneath at 0-2. As the Louisville DP in this game stands in for the 0-2, and she pops it up. And again, ranging over right inside the infield and making the grab is Taylor Bump. So make it consecutive pop-outs to the Michigan first baseman for Megan Hensley, and that'll be out number 2 here in the bottom of the 4th. This game moving at lightning pace here with just the 2 hits for Michigan and none for Louisville. As Caitlin Ferguson, the shortstop, comes to the plate. And the first pitch from Storako, called strike. Storako really starting to find her groove here. Is just peppering the zone at this point. Started with maybe a little bit of command trouble as the ball got up above the zone several times, but now ranging in really well is the 0-1. That one grounded back up the middle, and that'll be the first hit of the game for Louisville. Ground ball right between second and short. just to the left side of second base as it gets all the way to Peters out in center field. And a 2-out base runner for Louisville.
Now batting, number 37, Rebecca Chung.
As a fresh ball comes in there, home plate umpire Daniel Rogers goes out to deliver it himself to Storako as the play kind of subsiding there. And now the catcher Rebecca Chung up at the plate, trying to do something with their first hit of the game are Louisville. First pitch to Chung. That one hit opposite field, but late on that one as it goes foul down the first base side. And a little conference here in the circle between Katie Alexander and Alex Storako, and as that occurred, they were able to get even more new softballs from the dugout. Been losing a lot of them here around the yard in this game. We've had several breaks to bring in fresh ones, more so than in previous games here this weekend, as the 0-1, again with that rise ball, and again just missing up high out of the zone, 1-1. Chung had a ground out to Rodriguez at short in her first at bat of the game, as she sees the 1-1 and fouls it back directly behind home plate. 1-2 now. The Michigan contingent over near their dugout on the first base side, all shouting in support here for Alex Storako as she brings the 1-2 and again misses up high. So from 0-2 to 2-2 now. Twos across the board, 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here. Bottom of the 4th inning, Louisville's got a runner on first base in the form of Ferguson after she secured their first hit of the game here with a shot back up through the middle. And the 2-2 misses up high, and this time outside. And again, Alexander forced to get up out of her crouch to make that grab. And now the count is full 3-2. Storako checks her wristband, twirls in the right hand, and delivers the payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Got her with the fastball. And that'll do it in the bottom of the 4th inning for Louisville. The first strikeout of the game for Alex Storako. A big one after she gives up her first hit, but the runner does not advance beyond first. We head to the top of the 5th inning here in a scoreless game between Michigan and Louisville. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball on the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Again, Jeremy Parks here solo for this 3rd game of the ACC Big Ten Challenge for Michigan. Morris Fabry, my partner, off on family engagement. He will be back with me tomorrow for the 4th and final game of the weekend here. That one is currently scheduled for 12:30. The rain is gone now for the rest of the night. It looks like it's supposed to subside until the late afternoon tomorrow, so that 12:30 game, at least as of right now, is looking unthreatened by weather. But again, you never know. The radar today, during the majority of the rain, after we had left the ballpark here from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, the radar was entirely clean in the Raleigh-Durham area, but yet rain was still falling out of the sky. So never trust the weatherman, and especially never trust the broadcaster who is telling you what the weatherman says. As the Wolverines will have 7, 8, 9, Nemitz, Bump, and Rodriguez here in the top of the 5th in search of a run to try and make some difference here between these two sides. It's been kind of a battle of attrition so far here at the plate. Good pitching from both Storako and Watson, and an inability on the part of the hitters to kind of take control of the game here. As Mackenzie Nemitz steps to the plate here, and we will see the first pitch at the top of the 5th, that one up and inside. And it almost hit Nemitz as she kind of made herself into a C, kind of leaning in and ducking out of the way there for ball 1. And the 1-0. That one swung hard down the line, but foul. Just getting past the extended glove of Melton in foul territory over at third. Count now 1-1 on Mackenzie Nemitz, who in her first at bat in the game had a ground out over to Melton at third. As Watson takes a second, collects herself, keeps that ball right in her glove as she starts her delivery with the 1-1 and misses outside with a fastball. Now 2-1. Again, wind pretty non-existent as the American flag and the UNC flag out in left center field. Not blowing in the slightest as the 2-1 comes across the plate and just misses the plate. 3-1, and again, Watson has had a lot of very well-located pitches right around the zone in this game, but struggling to get some of those kind of 50-50 calls as the count now goes hitter-friendly on Nemitz. 3-1. No outs here in the inning, base is empty. The 3-1 pitch. That one swung hard and back through the gap between short and third, and that'll be a base hit that gets out into left field. Third hit of the game for Michigan, first hit of the game for Mackenzie Nemitz. As the Wolverines again get the leadoff hitter on base here in the top of the fifth. And Nemitz will be pinch run for as Hutch heading over to Daniel Rogers to make the change. It's going to be Grace Chelleman coming in to run at first base. Number 2, the freshman for the Wolverines, coming in on the base paths. And a nice job there by Nemitz to just get on that one. Didn't turn it, but hit it opposite direction. Melton gathered up her grounder the first time at the plate, and that time it got by her and by the extended glove of the shortstop, Ferguson. And now a runner on first with no outs here in the top of the fifth. We are scoreless as Taylor Bump steps to the plate. And the first pitch to Bump, a called strike inside. She had a strikeout swinging in her first at bat. Again, trying to lay off of those strikeouts. Has 6 now on the season. As the 0-1 shows bunt, pulls back, and then headed down to second on the play is Chelleman, and she is out by a good margin. That's a strong throw from Chung. So a bit of an awkward play. Bump showed bunt, was unable to get it. Pulled back. It would have been a ball had it been the call. Bounced out of the glove of the catcher, Chung, and she realized right about then that Grace Chelleman had taken off from first base, did a good job to collect it right down in front and make a strong throw down to the shortstop, Ferguson, who applied the tag at second. And now the base paths are empty with 1 out now. Wolverines unable to take advantage of the Nemitz hit and the Chelleman pinch run. And the count is 1-1 on Bump as that pitch is in the dirt. 2-1. I didn't have a great eye on the takeoff from first for Chelleman, whether it was late or whether it was just an unfortunate miscue. Planning to advance the runner, it looked like, on the bunt opportunity for Bump, as the 2-1 is hit foul near the feet of Bump and then heading back towards the third base side wall here. Watson checks her wristband, drying off her hand on her pant leg. And she's now ready with the 2-2. And that one hit hard and tailing foul and out of play down the third base side from Bump. Got underneath that one and looped it over down the third base side. Staying alive at 2-2. Natalia Rodriguez waiting in the on-deck circle here. As Bump trying to continue this at bat with another 2-2 pitch. That one a hard shot. If it can stay fair, it'll be trouble. It just goes foul down the first base side. Hit that one to the opposite side of the field, did Taylor Bump. Just unable to straighten it out by a couple of feet. And again, had it gotten down, it would have been extra bases for Bump, but instead we are back to 2-2 again here. With the bases empty and 1 out in the top of the fifth. Scoreless between Michigan and Louisville. The 2-2 pitch. That one down low, and again collected up in the dirt by Chung, and the count now full. Danielle Watson looking down and delivering a payoff pitch. That one hit hard, pop fly over towards right field, and taking about 2 steps over from her original position and making the grab is Schindler for out number 2. So an extended at bat for Taylor Bump, did a good job to get it back to a full count, but flying out to right field as she heads back to the dugout. And now Natalia Rodriguez coming to the plate. Again, drying that right throwing hand on her pant leg is Danielle Watson as she readies and delivers the first pitch. That one misses outside to Natalia Rodriguez, who had an infield single in her first at bat back in the 3rd inning. Was the first hit of the game for the Wolverines. A hard chopper that bounced up over the closely in-shaded third baseman Melton. The 1-0 misses up high and outside. 2-0 on Rodriguez. As she will step back to the batter's box, taps the bat to home plate, and then cocks it back over the shoulder, the 2-0. Again missing high, now 3-0. 3 straight balls delivered from Danielle Watson. With 2 outs here in the top of the 5th, and again the base pad's empty for the Wolverines. As Watson makes that twist to the left, winds and delivers. And the get-me-over pitch at 3-0 is right over the plate with the fastball, 3-1. That bat nested right on her left shoulder. Rodriguez, the 3-1. That one chopped and gathered up and unable to make the grab is the pitcher. Watching, she was charging in. It was a little bouncer right back in front of the batter's box, and again, this time quick down the line, and yet another infield single for Natalia Rodriguez as the Wolverines have another 2-out base runner. Just a little chopper right in front of home plate and charging in, and might have had a play, would have been close either way had it been a clean pickup in the glove as Watson tried to gather it up, and it went right off the end tip of her leather, and that left no play to be made at first. Still looking for the difference maker here in this one, scoreless, as Lexi Blair steps to the plate. And back to the top of the order. Blair had a strikeout in her first at bat, grounded out to second in her last one. As she is plunked with the first pitch, that one got her up and inside right on the shoulder. And she will twist out of the way and throw her bat away and head down to first base. She's going to work out her right arm. That got her right on the outside shoulder there. And she will rotate that like a windmill down at first base. And now 2 runners on at first and second. You've got Rodriguez on second and Blair on first, as Morgan Overitis will step to the plate. And that will now draw a meeting in the circle for Louisville. It looks like a delayed meeting in the circle, as we've got coaching staff, we've got pitcher, we've got catcher gathered up right on the rubber as Overitis takes a couple practice cuts. Hutch waiting on the third base side. Bonnie Thole over on first. As that meeting will conclude, no pitching change to be made again. Watson has been very good so far in the game for Louisville. Has given up 4 hits but no runs. And the Wolverines now with a runner on first and second here with 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Morgan Overitis had a ground out to short and a ground out to third, respectively, in her 2 at-bats. She sends one back up the middle. It's going to get by. Rounding third and heading for home is Rodriguez. No throw to be made as she slides in. And there's a difference maker finally, Michigan, with their first run of the game, the first run for either side, as Morgan Overitis, the freshman, took that one just by the shortstop Ferguson near the second base bag, and it got into center field. Blair only advancing to second on the play, but it's an RBI single for Morgan Overitis, and Michigan finally takes the lead 1-0 here in the top of the 5th. A little 2-out offense, something we had talked about yesterday. 2-out clutch hitting offense. As now Blair stands on second, Overitis on first, and Faith Canfield stepping to the plate. She's got a walk and a base hit in her 2 at-bats. And the first pitch, a ball low. Five hits now for the Wolverines on the game, as they just scratched across their first run. Watson with the 1-0. That one a called strike inside. That's been a really sweet pitch for Watson in this game, as she has brought the fastball back inside, and it's a tough one for hitters. Try and get around on it, and you might get jammed up inside on the hands trying to turn on it. As the 1-1. That one a hard shot down the third base line. If it stays fair, it's gone. It goes just foul. Got all of that one, did Canfield. Turned on it really well and took it down the third base line, but getting just to the left of that third base foul pole. It's 200 to the corners here at Williams Field. And the count 1-2. And the pitch, swing and a miss. Great pitch there by Watson to bring that one down in the zone and got Canfield inside swinging. As the Wolverines scratch across their first run of the game on an RBI single from Morgan Overitis, but they do leave 2 on. We head to the bottom of the 5th. It's Michigan 1, Louisville nothing here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. The tie is broken, and now it'll be back into the hand of Alex Storako, who, with that run, will be poised to take a win if she can continue through and be as effective as she has been so far. Just 1 hit surrendered here on the game for Storako. Due up for Louisville will be 6, 7, 8, Newman, Snyder, and Butler here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Again, this game moving extremely quickly. We are just an hour removed from first pitch, and we are now in the bottom of the 5th. Michigan and Louisville perhaps doing some favors to North Carolina and Northwestern, who will see each other after this one. Been hanging out all day, those two teams, after the delays here earlier. As Storako throws her last warm-up pitch and the throw down to second for Alexander.
Leading off for the Cardinals in the bottom of the
And
5th.
Newman now ready to step into the batter's box here to open up the bottom of the 5th. A quick dust off of home plate. And Storako doesn't have a ball. I don't think they've realized that yet. Now they do. Storako kind of needs that one to do what she does. And now some quick dap up in the circle as the infield retreat to their normal shadings. Outfield breaking up as well from center and branching out. And now Maddie Newman ready at the plate. She had a fly out to left in her first at bat back in the 2nd inning. First pitch here in the bottom of the 5th is a ball high. Storako twirling to the glove, the 1-0. That one missing, perhaps a hair high, perhaps a hair outside. Alexander trying to frame that one, held it there for at least an extra beat, but could not draw the call. It'll be 2-0 now. The 2-0. That one bouncing up in the dirt and gathered in by Alexander. It'll be ball 3, 3-0 now, here to open up the bottom of the 5th inning on Maddie Newman. Hitting 176 overall. Again, on these early season numbers for the Cardinals. As the 3-0 comes across. Fastball strike over the heart of the plate, right down Broadway on the 3-0. Not a chance that that bat was going to leave the shoulder there, as it's now 3-1. As Storako looks down and delivers that one fouled off. Back out of play here, third base side. Full count now. Storako, a good job coming back from the 3-0 count to get it back to full as she checks the wristband, and she likes what she's got. The payoff. That one swung hard, ranging over in left field. Lexi Blair. That one hit on a rope. Hard shot to left field, but Blair able to track it over the head and make the grab for out number one. Another one of those examples in this game where Louisville has gotten good contact off of Storako, but just hasn't got it to the right place. A little bit more power, and that would have carried over the head of Blair and up to the wall, but instead hangs up there for out number one. As that'll bring up Kyra Snyder now. And she fouls the first pitch right back where the last foul ball was, off the bat of Newman. And it's 0-1. Snyder had a ground out to short in the third inning, and her only at bat in the game. The 0-1 pitch. That one got away out of the hand of Storako. Luckily, no one on bases. It soared over Katie Alexander, and with how tall Alexander is and how well she blocks behind the plate, you know that that one really got up and away. But again, minimal harm. It's just a 1-1 count. With one out here, bases empty. Michigan leading 1-0, bottom of the fifth. Louisville at the plate, the 1-1. Nice paint over on the outside upper corner for a called strike two. It's 1-2 now. As Storako looks down and brings the 1-2, it's fouled off into the netting on the third base side. And again, they will discard that ball and grab some fresh ones from the Michigan side. Very persnickety about the condition and quality of the balls here has been Daniel Rogers behind home plate. Just wants to make sure that they've got good, fresh, clean balls in play. Again, those softballs valuable, not like a baseball game where you get to keep those fouls as keepers. They want the softballs back. As the 1-2 is got a lot of spin on it. It bounces right past Storako and rolls over to Canfield at second, who makes the throw over to first in time for out number two. That one was a hefty spinner off of the bat as it landed right on the circle chalk and then wound up rolling over to Canfield and getting the throw over in time by about a step over at first base for out number two. As now Charlie Butler steps to the plate in a swinging strike one. Butler was hit by a pitch in her first at bat back in the third inning. One of only two base runners that Louisville has had on in this game. One hit and one hit by pitch. Still looking for her first hit of the season is Butler as the 0-1 climbs up and out of the zone, up near the face of Charlie Butler, 1-1. Back foot on the back of the batter's box, the 1-1. Late swing, fouled back behind the press box, behind home plate, 1-2. 1-2 count, two outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Michigan with a 1-0 lead courtesy of their only run of the game coming in the top of this inning. As Storako brings the 1-2, a swing and a miss. Second strikeout of the game for Storako will get her out of the bottom of the fifth inning as that one tailed away from Butler. And again, nothing doing for Louisville there in the bottom of the fifth. We will head to the top of the sixth inning with Michigan leading 1-0 here on WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Conditions have cooled down here. No more moisture for the rest of the foreseeable future. Michigan should be back home on the plane by the time the rain starts tomorrow if things go according to plan. Again, we will have that final game for you, Game 4 of the weekend here in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. That one slated for 12:30 tomorrow against the host Tar Heels. Michigan going to come back looking for revenge after an 8-3 defeat last night at the hands of the Tar Heels. As Danielle Watson is back out to the circle again. Has been very good as well throughout the game for Louisville. Has surrendered 5 hits and finally gave up her first run back in the top of the fifth inning. To keep this one within arm's reach for her teammates, as Michigan will have Alexander due up to start, and then Hoganrod and Peters 4, 5, and 6. Here in the top of the 6th inning as Katie Alexander kicks a little dirt out of the way on her way. Takes a couple of practice cuts, and Watson is ready to go and just waiting on the time to be called, and we get that as Alexander now steps into the batter's box. She's got her front foot almost up to the top of the box. As the first pitch at the top of the 6th, she grounds it over the third base side, and it's grabbed in foul territory by Melton by a couple of inches there. Trying to make the play before it went foul. Unable to do so. 0-1 now on Alexander. As Katie takes a practice cut out of the box, she taps the bat to home plate and cocks it over her right shoulder. Leaning in on the 0-1, that one misses inside over the shoelaces. 1-1. And again, a decent amount of time between pitches here as Alexander finally steps back to the box. And Watson with the 1-1. Katie pulled that one hard, but foul down the third base side. Again, got a lot of that one, really was able to turn on it, but just couldn't line it up as it's 1-2. Wolverines looking to build on a 1-0 lead. Grab a couple of insurance runs, the 1-0. That one misses inside and low again for ball 2. Same spot that the first ball missed in. As again, the ball gathered up and then back down to Watson, and she will check her wristband, look back to the dugout, and pick out what she wants to go with here. As Alexander again stepping in, standing tall in her stance, now crouching a little bit more, the 2-2. Swing and a miss. That one tailed down low to the bottom of the zone, and it got right under the bat of Alexander, who took a big cut at it. And that'll be a swinging strikeout for out number 1 here in the top of the 6th inning. As Alexander heads back to the dugout. That the 4th strikeout of the game for Danielle Watson. And that will bring her up to an even 20 strikeouts on the season thus far. As Haley Hoganrod steps to the plate for the Wolverines, and she takes the first pitch for a called strike towards the inner half of the plate, but well over it. 0-1. Got that bat cocked back very far over the right shoulder as the 0-1 pitch bounces up in the dirt a couple feet in front of home plate, where it's gathered up by Chung, the catcher. As you might be able to pick up the Go Blue chants through our natural microphone here. Encouraging Haley Hoganrod on here as she sees the 1-1 pitch. That one again goes up high. Thought about it for a half second, did Hoganrod, and then kept that bat back to the shoulder as the count goes to 2-1. The 2-1 pitch to Hoganrod. That one just missing inside, it seems like. Again, another good pitch where Watson just missing the zone on a well-placed offering. And now it's 3-1, and time is called from first base. And that would be Kyra Snyder, as she, I think, had some kind of mix-up with her wristband card. And she just realized that. And so called time and took a sheet of paper out of her wristband and then brought it over to the dugout. Didn't take a new one, it didn't look like. But there is still a chart in her wristband. Interesting. But order will come back to the court as the 3-1 pitch. Ooh, Hoganrod thought that she was gone. She was a couple steps out of the box to first base, but going up with the right hand was Daniel Rogers. She thought she had the walk. Don't think Hutch liked her leaving the box there. Few things down the line. Not pleased. Got to stick in there and wait for the call. As it'll turn into a payoff pitch now from Danielle Rogers to Haley Hoganrod, and that one does miss inside. And now Hoganrod can head down to first base. A one-out base runner on the walk. And now Hutch, in one moment, very upset and barking at Haley Hoganrod for trying to leave the box too early, it seemed like. And then after the walk, looking down to first with a big smile and a couple of claps for her. Do well and you shall be rewarded. As Natalie Peters will now step in with a runner on first and one out and a 1-0 lead as she drops bunt. It's a really good one down the third base line. No throw to be made as Melton came in. And she will hold on to that one. It looks like Louisville wanted a foul ball call, and no. We've again got confusion between the umpiring crew. Not sure what we've got here as everybody's kind of mulling around. I'm not sure if they're going to say, I think they're going to say that she left first base early, maybe, Hoganrod? No. There was an out called on Natalie Peters. She dropped a bunt down the third base line. It was a fair ball. It was handled in there by Melton. She didn't make the throw. There were runners on first and second, and now they have called Natalie Peters out. We will see what the scoring is on that one in just a moment, but in the meantime, that brings up Mackenzie Nemitz, who takes the first pitch she sees and chops it over on a little looper that's gathered up at short by Ferguson, and just like that, that'll end the inning. Michigan thought they had 2 runners on and 1 out, and now we end the inning with a runner stranded on second base.
No hits, no errors, and 1 left on base.
We head to the bottom of the 6th inning. I'll try and get an explanation for you on what just happened there as soon as I figure that out. We head to the bottom of 6, Michigan leading 1-0 over Louisville here on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. And it looks like we may have a pinch hit to start off the inning here. We'll keep an eye on that as well. It officially went down in the book as a Peters ground out to the catcher unassisted. So something happened there, whether she got it out of the batter's box or something along those lines. Maybe it touched her as it dropped down. That could have been another situation, but I didn't see that. And again, I don't see everything on the field, but the inning comes to an end nonetheless, and Michigan finishes their between-inning warm-up and due up here in the bottom of the 6th inning, looking to tie this game back up with a 1-run deficit. They're going to have 9-1-2 for Louisville, and the pinch hitter coming in is going to be Cassidy Greenwood, who will be pinch hitting for Riley Schindler. Greenwood, a freshman on this roster. She will be followed by Melton and Funky, as Greenwood hits the first ball she sees into foul territory. It sticks up in the air for a good while, and ranging over to make the play in foul territory is Taylor Bump. And that will be out number 1 just like that. Didn't even get a chance to give you the stats on Cassidy Greenwood. And she's back to the dugout. 1 down now here in the bottom of the 6th. Bases are empty. Michigan up 1-0. As we are back to the top of the Louisville order with Sydney Melton. As Storako delivers the first pitch, and that's a hard hit ball, fair and single between third and short. And that'll be the second hit of the game for Louisville. Both of them to a similar position, as that one was a hard shot that got by both Nemitz and Rodriguez and out into Lexi Blair in left field. As Funky is now going to step to the plate with Melton on first. Melton represents the tying run. Funky would represent the go-ahead run. As a quick conversation between Katie Alexander and Alex Storako after that one, they now depart one another's company. As Storako readies the first pitch to Funky, that one misses outside for ball 1. Funky had a ground out, unassisted to Taylor Bump back in the first inning, and then had a fly out to Natalie Peters in her last at-bat in the 4th. As the 1-0 comes down, that one misses outside, and showing like she might have thought about going for just a minute was Melton, as Alexander was up out of the crouch, took 1 step through the batter's box and threatening to throw down to second, driving Melton back to first. And now Funky will be called over for some instructions over on the third base side. Out to the circle to talk to Alex Storako. Katie Alexander also there. The rest of the infield just behind them in the circle in their own powwow. As Jennifer Brundage will leave the circle now and leave it back into the hands of Alex Storako, who has been so good so far in this game. Again, despite being that good, not a huge margin for error, as Michigan's only brought one run across in this one. And now a 2-0 count as Funky back to the plate here in the 2-0. Again, that's a good pitch there by Storako that just misses outside and maybe a bit high for ball 3. Now 3-0 the count. And the 3-0. That one, a called strike that the Louisville fans wanted as a ball. They thought it might have been a little inside, but the get me over pitch on 3-0 is a called strike to bring it to 3-1. And the 3-1 misses high, as that will send Funky down to first base, and now runners on first and second here with one out for Louisville, threatening to get right back in this game. And Megan Hensley due to come up to the plate as Storako also nearing the heart of this Louisville order. As Hensley stands in tall. They've got Melton on second, Funky on first. The first pitch to Hensley. That one misses low and inside, gathered up quickly there by Alexander and up and out of the crouch as Melton on second was ready to go if that one got by. Standing very tall, almost straight up in the box is Hensley. As Storako looks to the wristband, gives a deep breath, and brings the 1-0. That one also missing inside, and now Storako, who had been so good through these middle innings at finding the zone, is now in trouble with runners on first and second and 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. Looking down to Alexander. Storako's got her throw, and it's a shot back up the middle, base hit. Rounding third and heading for home is Melton. The throw is going to be cut off by Storako, not in time, and heading over for home now on the pass ball, and another run will score. It's Funky. 2 runs on the play, and all the way over to third base is Hensley. A disastrous play for Michigan as the base hit got back up the middle. The throw in was cut off. It was actually Bump who was in the circle who tried to cut it off. It got by her and then wiggled down back to the backstop, and unable to get back there, collect it, and make the throw in time as Funky came all the way from first around to score. So 2 runs for Louisville. They take the lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning. And now another scoring opportunity still present on the base paths for Louisville. They've got now Hensley on third with Ferguson ready to step to the plate. And now this puts Michigan in a precarious situation where they need to get out of this inning into the top of the 7th, where they will need a run to keep this one going. As Hutch is going to make a move, it looks like here. And we'll see what they've got as home plate umpire Daniel Rogers will confer and have her discussion. Hutch is in the circle with Storako. It doesn't look like she's being pulled, as they're going to talk through this one. And instead it is actually Megan Beaubien coming out of the dugout now. And that will be the end of the outing for Alex Storako, as she will give a hug to Alex Storako, and she will head back to the dugout. She was very good on the game. Just happened to hit a little bad luck here in the bottom of the 6th.
Now pitching for Michigan, number 10,
As it's now
Megan
2-1
Beaubien.
Louisville, and Megan Beaubien will begin her warm-up. So again, it was a Hensley single to center field. It was an RBI as Melton was able to score. Advancing to third was Funky on the throw, and then advancing home on the throwing error. So that's an unearned run. So 1 earned run and 1 unearned run to Storako on that play. Really cares about on the board that's bothersome. And now Megan Beaubien will try and shut Louisville down and keep this a one-run game, as Michigan in the top of the 7th will have their last opportunity to now break a Louisville lead. Again for Michigan, the story last night against Carolina was a late onslaught of runs from the Tar Heels to bring down Michigan 8-3, and now the Wolverines in another tight situation.
Number 14,
as Beaubien is done with her warm-up now. Katie Alexander back behind home plate. And Caitlin Ferguson ready to step to the plate. She had a single in her last at-bat in the 4th. Also had a fly out to right field in the 1st. And the first pitch, that one a foul tip that escapes the glove of Alexander and squirts over towards the on-deck circle on the Michigan side. 0-1. Hensley standing on third with 1 out. Louisville now looking for insurance runs of their own, up 2-1. The 0-1 pitch. That one a looping breaking ball that Beaubien took a lot off of, as it floats right over the heart of the plate for a called strike 2. Looking back to the wristband. Beaubien likes it. She's got the 0-2 pitch, winds and delivers. That one up high. Thought about it for just a minute, did Ferguson, but able to check her swing and bring it back, 1-2. A light swing of the bat for Ferguson as she now crouches into her batter's stance. The 1-2 from Beaubien. That one a swing and a miss up high. Pulled the string and got her to draw a rough one, as Ferguson will head back to the dugout, and 1 batter, 1 strikeout now for Megan Beaubien in relief. And now Rebecca Chung to the plate. A big out that takes the sacrifice fly out of play for Louisville. And now 2 outs with Chung. And the first pitch to Chung, very similar to that looping breaking ball that Beaubien threw in the last at-bat, a similar position, but that one does not get the call. It's a bit outside, 1-0. Now Beaubien kicks the 1-0, that one fouled down the first base side. Hensley eager to cross home plate. It was her single that brought around not only 1 run, but another run on the throwing error. That is now the official difference in this one, 2-1. Hits are still 5-3 in favor of the Wolverines. Beaubien trying to get him out of the inning in relief. The 1-1, that one hits Chung on the leg, on her outside leg. On the 1-1 pitch, that will send her down to first base, and now runners at the corners. Beaubien has hit a couple of batters here in recent outings.
Now batting number 1, Maddie Newman.
As that will bring up Maddie Newman to the plate. Has 2 flyouts over to Lexi Blair in left field here on the game. Is 3 for 18 overall on the season, just a 167 average, but has a chance to make a big difference here. The first pitch called strike outside edge. Nice fastball there from Megan Beaubien to go 0-1. And Beaubien looking back to her wristband again. The count is 0-1 on Maddie Newman with runners on the corners and 2 out. The 0-1, that one grounded over towards third, and that one just goes foul. Kind of playing a screen there on Mackenzie Nemitz was Hensley, the runner on third. Luckily that one going to the foul side of the third base bag. And the count now 0-2. 1 strike away from getting out of the bottom of the 6th here with 2 runs surrendered. As Beaubien's got an 0-2 count. She's got that ball in her left hand. Winds and delivers, called strike 3. Megan Beaubien with the changeup right over the plate, got her looking. And that'll be a 3-pitch strikeout to end the bottom of the 6th. So Megan Beaubien good in relief. She gets a couple of strikeouts, but now Michigan in a sticky spot, as it was an RBI single and another run scoring on a throwing error, as Louisville brought across 2 in the bottom of the 6th. It's now 2-1 in favor of the Cardinals over Michigan as we head to the top of the 7th. You're listening to WCBN Sports coverage of Michigan softball Softball Radio Network. So officially, just like that, final call time for the Wolverines as they will come up to bat here in the top of the 7th. Meanwhile, here in the half innings, I'm going to look to get a little clarification on what happened with Peters back in the top of the 6th inning. And so it was ruled an out on Peters, who dropped down a good bunt, but they did say that she stepped out of the box in the process of doing so. So that was the official call there. That took us from 1 outs to 2 outs. And then it was a very rapid Mackenzie Nemitz line out to end that inning for Michigan. And those could prove to be critical opportunities that went begging for the Wolverines, as they will have 8, 9, and 1 due up here in the top of the 7th. And now just 3 outs away from picking up win number 2 on the season is Danielle Watson, who has been no slouch in this game by any means, has surrendered 5 hits and 1 run. And she now comes up in the top of the 7th with a comfortable-ish 1-run lead. And it looks like we're going to see a pinch hitter to open up the inning here for the Wolverines. Madison Uden is going to step in for Taylor Bump, as Uden takes a couple of practice cuts and steps into the box. The first pitch, that one misses outside for ball 1. Uden did not start this game. Instead, the Wolverines putting Bump over at first and putting Nemitz at third, as the 1-0 pitch misses high for ball 2. Wolverines would love to get Uden on as the leadoff hitter. With the skylights pouring down onto the field here at the Eugene G. Anderson Softball Stadium, Williams Field here in Chapel Hill, the 2-0. That one grounded right back towards the pitcher. Watson gathers it up and makes the underhand toss to first. A 2-0 count spoiled off there on a little nubber back to the circle for Madison Uden, and she will head back to the dugout. 1 out now here in the top of the 7th, and that'll bring up Natalia Rodriguez. Rodriguez has had a good day. She has 2 infield singles. And again, the Wolverines will take it any way they can get it right now. Watson looks down. In the first pitch, Rodriguez hits it right back to Melton at third, gathers it up and makes the throw over. 1 pitch, 1 out there in that at bat for Rodriguez. She hit both of her base hits over to that third base side, and Melton was played in very, very close. And she got it almost off the bat into her glove, and the throw down to first in time by half of the baseline. As now the Wolverines are down to their final out. Lexi Blair at the plate. The first pitch from Watson. That one a ball outside. A game that never really felt like anybody was in control until Michigan took a 1-0 lead back in the top of the 5th. And then it seemed pretty comfortable for them there, as Storako had been so good until 2 runs were surrendered in the bottom of the 6th. And now the 1-0 pitch, a ball that misses outside and low. 2-0 the count now. Lexi Blair in this game had a strikeout, a ground out to second, and she was hit by a pitch in the 5th. The 2-0 from Watson. That one swung on and fouled down the third base side. Up and over the net, out of play. Louisville looking for a big statement win over Michigan, ranked number 17th in the nation coming into the weekend here. Cardinals looking to go to 500. Michigan looking to avoid going to 500. The 2-1. That one a shot that's lined right over to Melton at third. She grabs it, and that's the game. It's a 2-1 victory for Louisville over Michigan here in Game 3 of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. A game that took just an hour and 33 minutes from start to finish. 5 hits to 3 in favor of Michigan, but the score 2-1 in favor of Louisville. That's it here at Williams Field. Again, we will get you the final stat line here in just a moment. For Alex Storako, she went 5 1/3, gave up 3 hits and 2 runs. Only 1 was an earned run. And a couple of strikeouts. Beaubien came in relief in the bottom of the 6th and got 2 strikeouts, so just 2/3 of an inning of work, but very efficient for Beaubien. But it wasn't enough because the star of the game for Louisville, Danielle Watson in the circle, a complete game, 5-hitter, 1 run surrendered, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Michigan at the plate on the game was 5 for 25. Louisville only 3 for 20. Really sneaking up and stealing this game away from Michigan in the dying embers. But a win is a win, and Louisville will take that happily, as that's the only game of the day for both sides. They will both head back to their hotels tonight, and Michigan will do a little soul-searching before they come back against a North Carolina team that defeated them yesterday in tomorrow's weekend finale. Again, not a whole lot more to say other than it seemed like Louisville really just snuck up and took this one in the bottom of the 6th, and that's about all we have here for you on WCBN Sports. Again, we will hope that tomorrow goes better for Michigan, and we will see you again. That one's scheduled for 12:30. I'll have Morris Fabry back in tow, and no more solo broadcasting. But thank you for all of you who elected to tune in on WCBN Sports for the game. Your final score here from Williams Field at the Eugene G. Anderson Softball Complex in Chapel Hill. It's Louisville 2, number 17, Michigan 1. You've been listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. Until tomorrow afternoon, we will leave you, as always, with a good evening and a Go Blue.